What's up guys, it's Grant bringing you guys a new video, and today I'm going to be telling you guys, in my opinion, the first 4 bow staff tricks you should learn. Now for those of you that are new to the channel and don't know me, my name is Grant. I upload a bunch of different martial arts videos and a lot of specifically bow staff videos. I've been doing bow staff since I was about 7 or 8 years old, and I'm now about to turn 22, so it's been quite some time. And I started martial arts shortly before that, so I started martial arts when I was about 6, and then again got into doing the bow staff at around 7 or 8. Now I have a series on my channel called Tutorial Tuesday where I post a tutorial on a different bow staff move or a different bow staff trick and try to show you guys how to do them as best as I can. Now that led to the idea of making this video in which I tell you guys, again in my opinion, the first 4 bow staff tricks that you should learn if you are new to using the bow. Now as I talked about, I have that series called Tutorial Tuesday, and 3 out of 4 of these moves that I'm going to be talking about today are actually tutorials in that series. I'll try my best to remember to link those 3 in the description down below so you guys can go check those out if you want to learn those moves. But if I happen to forget to do that, you can just go to the playlist on my channel, go under Tutorial Tuesday, and the name of the move will be in there. I have about, I think it'll be 58 tutorials in there by the time you're watching this video. So there's a lot for you to go through, and again, you'll be able to find those 3 in that playlist. So let's start out with number 1, and if you go to a martial arts school and learn bow staff, it's probably one of the first moves that you're going to learn, and it is technically a trick, and that's called the figure 8. So as you guys can see up on the screen now, I'm going to play, each move, a little clip of the tutorial video that you guys can go watch. The figure 8 is probably one of the most basic tricks, but it is super useful because it's used in a lot of different transitions and things like that. So say for example, it's used after you do an uppercut, it's used if you're spinning the bow into a transition to move forward to different strikes. It's used all the time, and it also looks cool in itself. There is a normal figure 8 and a one-handed figure 8, and I believe I have a tutorial for the one-handed one as well. But the figure 8 is super important, and it's going to be one of those basic tricks that you need to know to move forward and learn a bunch of different transitions and tricks to improve your overall, experience with the bow staff and your overall skill with the bow staff. Now speaking of using the figure 8 to go into different transitions, the second thing I would recommend learning, or the second trick, is simply the behind the back. Now as you guys can see in the video that comes up on the screen now, this is the tutorial for the behind the back. I do this in a way in which I use one-handed figure 8s to go out in front of my body or out to the sides of my body and then behind my back. Now that's why I put figure 8 as the first thing that you guys should learn and behind the back as the second thing. And as I mentioned when I was talking about the figure 8, this is one of the main transitions that I use, and I use this a ton in basically like every single kata that I do all the time when I'm practicing the bow. I use the one-handed figure 8 on each side and the behind the back to go to different strikes, to different tricks, different moves, whatever it is. I use this transition a ton. It's, again, probably one of the ones I use the most. Once you get good at it, it looks super cool, and even if you're not super good at it, it still looks cool as long as you keep it smooth, you don't stop behind the back and things like that, which I talk about in that specific tutorial. But I definitely recommend this as the second one. Obviously learning specific moves and like the traditional strikes and things like that are very important. And then once you get into the trick side of things, I think it's really important to start to learn those kind of like little transition tricks that are going to help you make your kata fluent and make, just when you're using the bow staff, make it look fluent. Now guys, moving on to the third trick, it's the around the wrist. Now, I was considering not putting this on the list, but after thinking about it for a little while, I thought it would be really important. Now, there's a bunch of different ways to do the around the wrist. If you guys look at my channel, there's the normal way where you just flip the bow over your wrist and, behind your wrist. And you might think, oh, okay, that can't really be used in katas a lot, but it definitely can. I use this a lot, and I think in my competition form I have it at least 1 or 2 times. It's in the version of the over the head around the wrist, which again is a different style of the around the wrist. And I also have that as a tutorial on my channel under that playlist, so you guys can go check that out as well. But this is super important because it is also a transition and it can be used as a transition, but it looks super cool. The way the bow goes around your wrist, especially once you get good at it and you add that speed in to make it really quick, it looks super cool. It's just this cool trick that goes super fast, and it just looks nice. So I decided that I would include that on the list. Again, as I said, 1, because it's the transition and it looks nice, and 2, because you can do a lot of different versions of the around the wrist that, again, all look cool and are really useful for, again, as always, and I say it all the time, making your kata fluent or making when you use the bow staff fluent, because I think that that's one of the most important things when you're practicing with the bow staff. Now guys, finally moving on to our 4th and final trick that I would recommend for your first 4 tricks, and this is the one that I actually don't have a tutorial of. I have the more advanced versions of this as tutorials, and I went back to my channel and I was writing out this list and I was like, wow, I actually don't have a tutorial of this yet. So I think that's going to be coming soon for you guys, so keep an eye out for that if you want to learn how to do this. I've showed how to do throw up in the air, 360s with the bow. I've showed how to do 540s where you catch it down on one knee, but I've never actually showed you guys how to simply just throw the bow in the air. And that's the number 4, or the 4th thing that I think you guys should learn, or the 4th trick that you guys should learn when you're starting out with the bow staff. Now, this is another common one, especially in today's day and age with competition forums and things like that. This is one of the base things that you're going to need to learn. In competition, a lot of people now are throwing the bow in the air, doing a bunch of spins and things like that. Obviously, that's a super advanced level, but learning how to simply just throw the bow in the air and catch it is going to be super useful. Like I said, it's one of the most common tricks, so you're obviously going to want to know how to do that. It leads to a bunch of different tricks like I just talked about, 360, 540, the spins keep going on, and there's different ways to catch the bow and things like that. So learning how to simply throw the bow in the air and catch it without doing anything crazy is very, very important to learn. So that's it, guys. Hopefully this helped you guys. I definitely recommend, for those of you that are new to using bow staff again, learn these 4 tricks. Try to basically, obviously you're not going to master them, in a short period of time or anything like that, but try to get really good at these 4 tricks, and I promise that everything will come together, a lot smoother when you're using the bow staff, or if you have a kata, you've made your own kata, whatever it is. It's going to start to look a lot smoother when you start to implement these things once you get good at them. And then again, advancing to harder moves and, increasing your speed and things like that are going to be a lot easier when you're good at these 4 things and you kind of have them down pat and, in your arsenal. So that's basically it for today's video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video and hopefully this was helpful. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.